Hey, Dallas, Texas, and Edinburgh, Scotland, I'm bringing comedy and wrestling to you within the next 2 weeks. Go to coltcabana.com in the events section for all the information. But for now, enjoy the show.
This is The Art of Wrestling with professional wrestler Colt Cabana.
How you guys doing? Come on in, sit down, relax. You're about to listen to The Art of Wrestling, a professional wrestling podcast. It's a life podcast. It's a personal journal. It's an entry way into the minds, the souls, the hearts, and the lives of the people involved in the world of professional wrestling. I am your host. My name is Colt Cabana. I am a juggalo. I'm a juggalo gathering going or two. I am president of Whoop Whoop City. Most importantly, though, we'll keep it. I am a professional wrestler. We are sitting here live in the studio apartment in Chicago, Illinois. Before we go any further, this is fan supported and listener supported podcast supported by people just like you. I did say Whoop Whoop City. A couple great ways that you can support, rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes. Let somebody know, tweet something out, SoundCloud something out. You know the deal. Best way to support, coltmerch.com, digitalcolt.com, t-shirts, buttons, pictures, posters, DVDs, digital downloads, premium podcasts, some other good stuff. It's a great way to support. I appreciate it. coltmerch.com, digitalcolt.com. Whoop Whoop City. Okay, I won't get too much on the gathering because I'm heading there now as you listen to this, but obviously that will be the monologue for next week's show as we are diving into the 5th year anniversary. That will be next week's show, the 5th year anniversary. Nothing crazy, but I don't know, worth a listen to see where this thing has all gone. I think the Gathering of the Juggalos is a great piece to tie into that 5 years of doing this podcast. Drew Gulak is on the show, and Drew is a great guest to have. Drew and I have a funny rapport, I think. We've both been known to just sit and talk about nothing probably for hours, so this makes sense to have him on the show. I wrestled Drew for, we might have gotten into it. It wasn't Chikara, it was like a Chikara offshoot, and I really, really enjoyed it. We had like a real old school, just kind of old European style wrestling, and that's when it's fun to me. Also with the crowd that was there, it was a small crowd somewhere in, I don't want to say Massachusetts. It was one of those small towns to where you went to the show beforehand and you got to go to like the little art stores that were around town, and there was just it was real small town, but like a nice, quiet, cute small town America, as opposed to some of the crazy small town Americas that I've been to. Had like it was in like city center square, so there was stuff going on. I'd probably be sick of it after a day, but the fans were great. The show was fun. Drew is an amazing wrestler, and I know he did go down for WWE to do a tryout. I don't know the results of that. I think they'd be idiots not to have him under contract, but then again, I think if Colt Cabana says they're idiots, then they'll be like, oh, well, fuck them. Let's not have him under contract. So, hey, WWE, don't sign Drew. He's the worst. The worst. That work? Probably not. So this weekend was fun. I was in both Detroit and Chicago for AAW and XICW. I haven't been to XICW in years. I wrestled a guy named Skull Gans in 2001 on May 6th. I know that because I've told the story. It was on my birthday. It was my 21st birthday at the Hot Rocks Cafe in Detroit, Michigan, where I believe Eminem was once shot at. And that's what I thought I was getting back into. I was like, they're still running and they're still doing this. And then I go there and it's just this really nice show at a ballroom, at a banquet hall. And Malcolm Monroe Jr. is still running it, and he's got some helpers there this time. And it was actually a fun promotion. Like, you know, I think every city has a promotion that people really get behind. And I always love when I go to Cleveland and I see that like Cleveland is behind AIW, and I see that Vancouver is behind ECCW, and the local, you know, drinking age people who want to go out and have a fun night, they go out and support it. And Detroit, I don't think has one of those, or maybe that I'm unaware of. And I think it'd be great if XICW became that thing of Detroit. You go to Detroit, that's where you go. You go to Providence, Rhode Island, it's Beyond Wrestling. You come to Berwyn, you know you're going to AAW. There was something cool that happened to me this week, and I think I'm going to talk about it next week because, again, that's the 5-year anniversary wrap-up shtick. Not wrap-up, but you know the idea. 2 weeks ago, I didn't really get to talk about it because I had the live show, And I wrestled for Global Force Wrestling, and there was a newspaper reporter who wanted to ask me these questions, and we were at a minor league baseball park, and he was like, is this the weirdest place you've ever wrestled? Because it blew his mind that we were wrestling in a minor league baseball park. And if he only had documented my weekend, which consisted of wrestling at a minor league baseball park, then going to the Wrestling Hall of Fame in Waterloo, Iowa, then going to New Albany, Indiana, and then flying to Houston, Texas to do a show where we did some great autism awareness, he would have seen me in New Albany, Indiana, where I wrestled at a strip club for a guy named DJ Shawn Michaels, which you just can't write. And I put it on my Instagram, and I love as he's asking me, this is so weird at a minor league baseball park. I'm just flash forwarding to 2 days ahead, where while I'm wrestling, there's naked strippers outside on an outdoor beach volleyball court playing beach volleyball and riding a mechanical bull as I'm wrestling a homosexual wrestling character named Paradise, who probably made out with me like 12 times during the match. And this poor old newspaper journalist from Appleton, Wisconsin, who has no clue the kind of life I live, just could not believe I was wrestling at a minor league baseball park. If you only knew my world, Mr. Appleton. You're a journalist. There should be some wild shit out there. Come wrestle for DJ Shawn Michaels at a strip club in New Albany, Indiana. Then you'll see some shit. And that wasn't even some shit. That was just the tip of the iceberg. All right, Song of the Week this week is brought to you by SuplexApparel.com. They're a clothing brand, but also a team of pro wrestlers who represent Suplex. In the same vein as guys like Drew Gulak, wrestlers like Zack Sabre, Prince Devitt, a.k.a. Finn Balor, Kyle O'Reilly, and more are representing Suplex. Check out the Summer Range 2015, which is out now, featuring t-shirts, shorts, sunglasses, and Suplex's very first energy drink. They'll ship it worldwide. Why not? Pro wrestling focused clothing for wrestlers and fans alike. These dudes represent Suplex, and now you can too. SuplexApparel.com. The song this week is by Dusty Donley and the Powerbomb Experience. Dusty's other band's music can be heard at MississippiBones.bandcamp.com. This song is called Mean Gene. Give it a listen. We'll be back with Drew Gulak.
Rockin' a mustache, so pencil thin, bald as fuck on top, no toupee for him, meeting Gene Okerlund,
I mean, they're not going to hear any of this.
Yeah, I know. Sorry, I didn't want to go first. I wanted you to go first.
That was a Russian roulette, an audio Russian roulette.
Is that what that would be called? Was there a gun? Or is it, who's done?
A Russian standoff. A Russian
Mexican
audio.
standoff.
Yeah, why
no,
is it
that's
Russian?
with guns too. Why are you so violent today?
Me?
Yeah.
Do I feel violent?
I don't know.
I don't think so. But that was a standoff of who was going to talk first. I won, probably because my show. Where does the fear come in? Tell me.
You spoke first unless you edit it the other way.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to sound like I edited it.
No,
I don't edit
edit
all of this.
He edits everything.
I don't edit
listen.
any
No.
of this.
He edits everything.
Am I a violent man?
Yes.
I don't think so.
You're kind-hearted about it.
I'm kind-hearted. Have you ever beat the shit out of anybody?
I mean...
That's a good question.
Let me see. Have I been in like a fist fight? I've protected I've never gone past defending myself.
Which that would mean that's
not beating the shit out of someone.
right. That's
I haven't like incapacitated someone and then followed up.
There's a word for that. I don't know what it is. If you're maybe an aggressor, but
Hurting someone?
a passive aggressor.
No, there's no passive about hurting like physically. That's like an aggressive aggressor.
If you're the one that wants to, a passive aggressor is one who's like, I don't want to fight, but I will if I.
So when you envision this talk, is this how it was going to go?
Well, I
It doesn't matter, right?
No,
All right, cool.
but I like the idea of.
This is exactly how I envisioned it.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, debating on this.
I haven't really beaten the crap out of anyone.
No?
Yeah, I got in a fight in college.
Okay.
Defending these two girls at a fraternity when fraternity boys were being disgusting, and I was like, "Come on, guys!" And then an all-out brawl happened. I got swung at. I didn't throw a punch. Like I got hit in the chin, and I was like, "Oh fuck!" And then I was like, gonna hit someone. And I was like, "I don't want to do this." I was like, "Let's get out of here."
Yeah, you're smart about it.
Yeah.
Someone could pull a knife and you're done.
And then, well, I don't think it's just stupid frat people. Not in a
Never know.
fraternity, not hating a fraternity, but it was like everything of that culture.
Alpha Kaplan.
Yeah, Alpha Kaplan. Yes. But I think, and then afterwards, it was like the SAEs and the shy. Some things like had like a weird. Like a wrestling, they were in a feud afterwards because I was trying to protect these girls.
So it was your fault.
Apparently.
So you ignited that. That's
Yeah.
crazy. I don't think I've ever had that.
Nothing like that's ever occurred.
I mean, I went to Northeast High School in Philadelphia, which is the largest high school in the city, and every lunch it was like the weird ambience of people like waiting to just a fight to break out.
Just because there was a lot of people there?
It was mostly due to it had to be due to the population, but it's an inner city school. You know, you don't have the richest kids in the world there, so maybe not the most disciplined people hanging out, having lunch together. Maybe like 400 kids having lunch together in a cafeteria or more. And usually, what would happen is you just hear this loud noise, which wound up sounding like a truck horn blaring, but it was actually the collection of like all the kids screaming and standing on top of their table trying to get a view. It was crazy, man.
Fights were
Yeah,
going
I've seen some
down.
crazy fights in high school. I've only been a part of like one or two, and they've only lasted a second, if that. And lucky I didn't get injured or anything. And I don't think anyone else really got seriously injured.
I sit and watch these YouTube clips of them. Like, I don't know if it's good or bad. Of like, I'm a big YouTube fight. Like, you know, I was in on Kimbo Slice early.
Yeah.
So you
knew what was going to happen.
In terms of what?
You know, the whole Shamrock incident.
Oh, was that an incident?
To me, it was.
I mean, like, I just enjoyed bare knuckle street fighting.
Yeah, bum fights.
Bum fights. Oh, it's kind of sad that now that like I'm a grown man that like I really liked bum fights.
Have you ever seen what happened to what was his name, Charlie or something? I'm sorry if I forget the name to anybody
Of
who
the
would
bum
do this.
in bum fights?
There was like a main bum. Mm-hmm. He was like the bum who had like bum fights tattooed on his knuckles. Right. They showed like what his life had become now, like recently,
Really?
and it's completely turned around.
Ooh.
I mean that since I saw that video, it was turned around.
I'll have to go watch that. Yeah.
Who knows what adventures he's been up to since?
Yeah.
Then.
But I like those, and I always feel that like when I'm watching MMA, I get a little bit of that rush.
Mm-hmm.
Like when a guy's on top of a guy, he's like, beat the fuck out of him, you know.
Is that always when a guy's on top of a guy, or just in a fighting situation?
If it's in an MMA octagon, then
Yeah,
yes.
man, it's our instinct, right?
Yeah.
That's why we're pro wrestlers, right? That's why you're so lighthearted about beating people up.
Well, and then I'm wondering, like, because
You're an aggressor.
Okay, so that's what it all comes down
We're
to.
pro wrestlers.
We're
We're competing against other individuals to pin them or maim them.
Sure.
To give up.
Sure.
Yeah, that's what we do.
Your style more than mine.
What are you talking about? We have the same style. Don't you read the message boards and stuff?
Is there things as a message board anymore?
Yeah.
Is Reddit considered a message
no,
board?
No. That's like
CZW fans?
that's the future. Duh.
Okay, that's what they say.
CZW fans. I don't know. I said message boards because that's what people say.
Sure,
right?
but I don't even know.
Social media.
When people say the message.
What's my style?
When Triple H says on the microphone, like, the message boards, that's what they're saying on the message boards.
Does he say that?
No, but like in my head, I envision
That would be
saying
great.
that. Is he just talking about Twitter?
Maybe. What else they got? They got Tout and Periscope now is big.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder if that's their vision of what the message boards is. And what is the real message boards? I don't know. Your style is...
I think it's the internet wrestling
is a
community.
guy
Okay,
with
go
no
ahead.
knee pads who's gritty.
It's always the no knee pads. You know, I'm not the only person who wears no knee pads.
But like, you're a no knee pad guy.
Yeah, all right.
And that like says like, oh, I'm a Frank Gotch guy. I'm
Okay.
a Farmer Burns guy.
Yeah.
I'm a shooter.
Back when nobody wore them.
I'm a hooker.
Yep. I don't think I'm a
In
hooker.
more ways than one.
Yeah, no, one way.
Just
Maybe,
one way.
If that. I don't know if I could be considered that. The hooker and the shooter. But I was an amateur wrestler.
And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And if I was to bet $20 I would have bet you were an amateur wrestler.
All right.
And like,
Thanks.
And that's the MMA.
I'm glad it's not like something that I don't know.
would've said
That's
you were
not true to myself.
Or a baseball player.
I did play baseball.
Yeah, you look like a baseball player.
Yeah.
You'd be a great.
I'm wearing
baseball
I'm wearing a Phillies hat right now.
Maybe that's why. But a baseball hat, you wear a baseball hat very well.
Thanks.
Yeah. So which would make you a baseball player.
Thank you.
Right.
Thank you. You do too.
I do a lot.
Yeah.
And I played baseball a little bit.
There you go. What was your position?
I pitched a little bit and I played first.
You were a
base.
pitcher?
Yeah.
Really?
Pitcher and first base.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because you were tall.
No.
Were you a tall guy?
Because I was fat.
You were a pitcher because you were fat.
First base because I was fat.
Okay, that maybe.
And-
Really?
Yeah.
That's I thought it was like
John Crooks
If
style.
you're taller, okay. Yeah. There you go.
I wasn't running around.
you're speaking
I was
my
the heavy
language.
hitter.
Cool. Clean up.
Yeah. Well, I
Fifth.
mean, I was the power. I was the muscle. I was the first base guy.
You would do the bench clearing brawls. Yo, I've been in those.
In a
Have you
baseball
ever
game?
been in a bench clearing brawl?
No.
Little league style.
Not allowed. In Little League.
Not allowed. No.
Slap. So does this come with inner city Philadelphia?
This was actually suburban Philadelphia because my parents. What happened was, I lived in the suburbs for the first 10 years of my life. Then we lost all our money, and I moved into the city with my grandparents and my aunt.
Can't wait to hear that story, by the way.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I did Little League in the suburbs my whole life, and then when we moved, I was in school in Philly, and in order to keep me in like a better baseball league, they lied and said my address was somewhere else, like a friend who lived in Huntington Valley, Pennsylvania, which was a wonderful suburb. It still is a wonderful
Willing
suburb.
to drive you over there?
Yeah, willing to drive me
Okay.
over. Yeah, it wasn't a far drive, albeit.
Okay, the lack of money still, like, willing to throw in the $5.
Yeah. Oh, they were great. Yeah, my parents, to me and my brother, they really like went out of their way to make sure that, we went through school. That's the most important thing to them, and to do, the stuff that we like to do, like baseball and summer camp and that
Pro
kind of
wrestling.
stuff. We were lucky.
Good.
Yeah.
So you went in the suburbs. I want to hear the brawl, and then I want to hear the loss of money.
All right. So I forget what it was, but we had a pitcher. His name was Sean, and he was talking trash with the other team. It's just typical kid stuff, like, oh, you're fat, you're bad, you suck, that kind of stuff. Just picking fights, and like the dads would get in on it on the other team,
Yeah.
and then the other team would start challenging back, and all of a sudden it's with the parents and stuff.
How old?
This had to be,
5th grade?
yeah, around. It was definitely middle school. It was like 5th or 6th.
Okay.
So 11, 12, maybe 12, 13, around that age, before I got into like indies. So around 12, 13. I just remember what you line up after the game, you shake hands with the other team, you do like a domino effect, you walk down the line, the coaches are at the end of it, right? So I'm about like 3/4 of the way back, and I might have been one of the kids instigating. I don't remember. I'm a smart ass. And all I remember seeing is like, all right, the high fives are going good. The game ended finally. And then I just see hats flying and then kids just like flying. And this line's just like breaking down like a tidal wave towards me. And everyone just started fighting. And the dad started like pulling the kids off each other and they started clocking each other. And it didn't last long, but it was super crazy.
Oh, I wish it was
And not
on
like
YouTube.
not like the ECW wrestler.
Yes,
Yeah.
of course. Man, that's pretty great. No
Yeah.
one, was anybody end up bleeding after that?
Maybe. I don't think. I know maybe some black eyes and like ice packs came out, but
I'll find myself watching,
dude,
like YouTube clips of high school.
I forgot that happened. Thanks for bringing that back.
Of course, that's the
Thank
point
you
of
for putting
this
me on the
thing.
couch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the point of this thing. Was it traumatizing? Obviously not enough. You don't.
No,
remember
it was great.
Yeah.
It was like, wow, this actually does happen.
Yeah, I was a baseball umpire, and I was pretty at 17.
Okay.
A father. These fathers can be just real pricks.
Yeah.
Some of these dads. I hope that I'm not this dad.
Do you watch South Park?
Yeah.
Do you ever see the baseball episode?
I mean, I can't quote the whole.
so there. I don't know. It's a great episode. Sorry to talk about a TV show like that. What is it? Stan's dad gets in on it, and he gets drunk at every game.
Yeah,
They're like,
okay.
none of the kids want to play, and then he's just there basically to live out a fight. And he goes, "Was this America? I thought it was America. It's a free country." And he just takes his shirt off, and he looks at the other dads from the team. He goes, "What do you want to do?" And then the next scene is like the cops pulling up and taking him away. But
These were these
these
dads.
dads. This is a real thing. They said, it's a satire. So
It's right. It's
Culture.
awful. And one of the dad was like, "Yeah, you talking?" And like he kept on yelling at me the whole thing. So like one time, like the most obvious ball ever, I called strike 3 just to see what he would do because I was 17.
umpires do that.
Yeah, because I was in the gym and I was
so
like getting ready
naive.
for football and then he comes at me. I go, "We can fight if you want. What do you want to do?" And then he like backed down to me. It was pretty great.
awesome.
I called a dad out. Yeah,
In front of his kid, right?
in front of everyone.
do
And
you
like all
think
the
that- what
parents
do you
were
think
like
that kid's doing
clapping.
now?
Yeah, it was pretty great. I felt excited. That's probably the closest.
He's probably
I've
an
done.
umpire now, that kid.
Yes, and the father's probably in jail. I'm
Oh,
sure. So you were in inner city. Your parents. So you grew up nice, and then they lost all their money.
Yeah, sort of. All right, so my mom and my dad both met in high school. I think senior year of my dad's year, and my mom was a junior, so they were a year apart. And they were dating then. And then shortly after high school, my dad moved to the suburbs. He was always in the pizza business.
And the Devaris.
I guess they were in the pizza business?
The Devaris were in the pizza business.
Well, now I have a new thing to talk about, other than that the one looks like my brother. So my dad was always in the pizza business, that kind of thing. My mom was a nurse in the city. And they moved to Montgomeryville, which is a nice suburb of Philadelphia. I was born in 1987, sorry to date anybody. And my brother was born in 1990, and we lived out there until we were 10. And I'll never forget it. We were down in the basement. We had a really nice house, nice suburban, white bread, Jewish American lifestyle. I'll never forget it. My dad comes downstairs, right? Me and my brother in the basement, either playing Super Nintendo or watching Superstars. And my dad goes, "Hey guys, listen, we're gonna have to sell the house." Just tells us, right? And I'm 10, so I'm like trying to be cool about it, trying to be mature. My brother's 7. He just started bawling.
It's devastating. I'd imagine.
He just started crying, and it never really sunk in with me because you're going through adolescence. You try to be like bigger than you are, and even some people past their adolescence, you try to continue doing that. And within 6 months, I remember selling all our toys at the yard sale. I remember slowly, and like things would disappear from the house, like the couch is gone, and now the TV's gone.
Anything you could.
This was
sell,
summer.
huh?
This was summer. So it was after school. They were always cautious about school. It was after 5th grade. Or no, it was after 4th grade for me. I went to Montgomery Elementary, and I was enrolled in Greenberg Elementary, which is a nicer school in the city. It's still a city school. It's not like a charter school. It's a public school. And it was a K-8. And September, around that time, I remember I would live one day at my old house, and then I would go to my grandmom's and sleep. Kind of like, you know how you buy new fish and you kind of get them used to the water? You put the fish in the water? That's like what they were doing with me.
Yeah.
So I just remember seeing all my stuff go. Like I did have fish. They got sold.
It's kind of like Grado. Grado just told me that he moved out, but he's still sleeping at his mom's house a little bit one day, and then in his new home, and then still goes back to his mom's house at like 27.
I guess that's a common thing. Or maybe it's not. I don't know.
I'd imagine. Yeah,
probably. Trying to get used to the situation. I mean, I was always close to my grandparents on my mom's side. I never met my dad's side. They died before I was born. And his side of the family is pretty private. But with my mom's side, it was always like we were welcome. And they just brought us in. It was supposed to be temporary, but it wound up lasting until I went away to college.
Did you ever get the story?
Of what?
Were the money, like, a bad investment?
Yeah, it was a bad investment. My dad did really well. He started a restaurant called Garibaldi's in Lansdale, and he did great. And I think I was around 8 years old, and he decided he was going to all right, invest in some real estate, invest in some new things, or whatever. I don't know exactly which stocks or if he did stocks or any kind of thing, but he made new investments, and he decided he wanted to spend more time with us at home because restaurant business is 40 hours a week minimum, so you're not home very often. And my mom was a stay-at-home mom at the time, and then she started picking up more work once the money started going downhill. While we were still living at the old house, my dad started managing other restaurants, trying to get back into the game. He took some time off. He did it for us.
So just the idea that he wanted to spend time with you, and then
he wanted to spend time with us. He wanted to retire early.
The real estate business, the real estates that he invested in went to shit. Is that what it is?
If whether it was just the real estate or if he had other investments and stuff, I don't really know those details.
Yeah.
It's not really important.
Yeah.
But he lost the money.
Yeah.
And they couldn't come back from that, so they had to wind up selling the house.
Wow. Did you see a change in them?
Not at first.
Yeah, okay. Did that affect wrestling school? Did that affect college?
Wrestling school didn't come around until the end of middle school, and it was through a teacher, my 6th grade science teacher, 6th grade science teacher, a guy named Jack Zabarski, and he was a huge ECW fan back in the day.
In middle school, you went to wrestling school?
Yeah. Well, no. In middle school, I started attending independent shows. My brother started wrestling in middle school because we're 3 years different.
Your brother was wrestling before you?
No, he's 14 at the time.
When
I'm
he was
17 at the time.
Right,
Flash forward.
Gotcha,
high school, I started training.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I started young. Yeah.
And your brother, kind of infamous, a little bit for me. Am I allowed to say,
Please. Yeah, that's awesome.
Little
he
Nick
would love
Mondo,
it. Yeah. Old school Murphy Rec ROH days.
Yeah, but more, I feel because I knew Nick Mondo because he had moved to Minnesota while being in CZW.
Yep.
And while we were he like got some work, he would work with us up in Minnesota.
Okay.
And then he'd be
Steel Domain.
Steel Domain Wrestling, yeah. And then he'd be like showing us, like, look at what me, Trent Acid, and Johnny Cashmere do, and we were like, Jesus.
Yeah.
And then like so then we kind of like we're figuring out like what's cool. And that's where you start as an independent wrestler in 2000. We're like,
Yep.
oh, okay, like these are the cool ones over here. These are the cool ones over here. Nick Mondo's a thing in CZW, and then you see the little guy, your brother,
Wow.
being
That's funny.
Yeah.
So you knew him before you met him.
Of course.
That's
yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
Stuff like that you
He's-
don't think about as a fan, or as like someone just new to this.
I think the fans that want to be fans, of course they want to be known. That's why they're doing it, right?
Sure. I don't know. I think my brother was just young. He wasn't like, hey, everybody know me. He was like, hey, give me attention that maybe I don't get elsewhere.
You're
That's
right.
about it.
But I think that's the point. It's like I can't be a wrestler yet.
Yeah.
Like I think of these guys who are known WWE fans. It's like they want to be WWE superstars.
Sure.
The sign guy, the clown guy, Frank
Yeah.
the Clown. Like
No, that's true.
There's a reason.
The hardcore fans, like I think with our generation of wrestlers, most of us we're all fans pretty much, unless you were born into it, And even then, you got to be a fan. which
Yeah, and I
is a
think as
popular
a fan,
point.
I probably would have been a dream to be like a known fan.
Yeah.
I think if I had a gimmick.
All right. What's Colt Cabana like as a wrestling fan?
Well, everyone saw it in WrestleMania. Fuck, right? And I beat up Hawk. I don't know if you've seen that one.
No, I mean, this happened. I'm sure I've heard about
WrestleMania
it.
13, I got in a street fight with
This is like out front of the building.
what's that?
This is like out front of the building.
Well, this is during the Chicago street fight. I beat up Hawk. I threw 4 punches.
You are an aggressive guy.
That's right,
dude. Come on.
So right, like I think in a perfect world, I was 16. Someone would have been like, "You're amazing. Come with us on the road." Like, okay, I'll be the guy that punches
Yeah.
Hawk every match.
Absolutely.
That's my dream.
It's a good
and that
point.
was your brother. Like,
Yeah.
And so that's what I'm saying. But it's also a good thing. And like, I was trying to describe. I had somebody talking to me, like a showbiz person was talking to me about like, and I was trying to describe like independent wrestling, and then along with all like, I was describing these weird people in different places.
Yeah.
There's this guy, and I was saying like, oh, there's this guy in Cleveland who's like an army vet who comes to all the shows, and he's this type of weirdo. And there's this guy over here that like I had all these weirdos, and I think weirdo in a good way.
Sure. No.
Yeah, when your brother puts on fucking
There's these
when he's
characters in the
cosplaying-
crowd.
Yeah, when he's cosplaying Nick Mondo, like
That's it.
he's a weirdo in his own great way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true.
So
And he's a weirdo at home.
and there you go. And so that's tying that together. That's your brother.
Yeah.
And you guys always liked wrestling growing
Yeah.
up. Then
Yeah. Ever since we were little, I don't know, my earliest memories, I guess, I was like 3. We had a mutual friend, or like a friend of the family. They had a kid named Wayne, and we would go over and watch the pay-per-views back then, like when they were, I don't know, WrestleMania 10 was a thing, like. Back then, anything they would have like a monthly party kind of thing. My parents didn't really get it. My dad used to watch a little bit when he was little, but he was never really a fan. He's a boxing guy more than anything.
Okay.
Not hardcore, but that's what he would watch at home. My mom just doesn't understand it at all. She's like, all right, whatever. Go
Did you
have
do
fun."
amateur wrestling because of pro wrestling?
Not specifically, but I knew there was a crossover and a benefit to it. I did amateur wrestling. I started way late as an amateur wrestler. If you start young, you're made in the shade. But if you start like older coming in,
Like that kid with the mohawk on YouTube?
yeah,
A lot of YouTubers.
he's great.
Yeah,
He's great. Or he was great. I don't know if he's still doing it.
He might be 20 now.
He's
I'm
probably
not
still
sure.
doing it. So I had a chemistry teacher who happened to be the wrestling coach, and he would just talk about, "Hey guys, yeah, I'm the wrestling coach. Yeah, sure. If you want to come out, let's do it." And then I was in like the magnet program at school, which is where kids come from all over the city, as opposed to just the local feeder. So it wound up being like a whole crew of magnet kids coming in to his wrestling team, and I started sophomore year. So I was,
that is kind of late.
very late.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Were you any good?
I was decent for a city kid. I was, in the grand scheme of things, no.
Did you pro wrestled while amateur wrestling?
I started pro wrestling.
were 17?
I was 17. So I started in August of 2004. So my entire senior year, when I was on the team, I would go from wrestling practice, which is insanely grueling.
Yeah.
And we would run, like back then, we ran some crazy practice. We'd run up and down 9 flights of steps just to warm up with bricks in our hands, and then go drill for 2 hours. And then I'd get a lift over to the CZW school in Jersey, in Deptford at the time.
Okay. From who?
Sometimes it would be DJ Hyde. Sometimes I was driving at the time, so I'd borrow the car and go.
But that's just like looking.
Yeah.
I do a lot of looking back of like, oh, I couldn't do that. But like, do you look back at that going, I couldn't do that, or do you look back at that saying like, oh, it's because I was young and I was able?
No,
to
I
do
look
it?
back and I go like, that's the only thing that felt right, and it still feels right.
Was going from amateur right to wrestling school? You mean?
Not specifically that, but just like I wanted to train. That's all I wanted to do was train, man. It consumed my life. I just loved it, and
People get burnt out so quick though.
there was no burning out. I'm still not burned out.
You're still ready.
Guys talk to me all the time like, "Oh, you sick of this yet?" Like, no, this is awesome. I just like it. I like it so much. I don't care if it's in front of 1 million people or in front of 20 people.
Do you still train regularly? You're training people.
I'm the head trainer at the CCW Academy.
You don't like to brag, but
Is that bragging?
I don't know. I'm the head trainer. No.
All right, I'm the program coordinator.
Yeah, I like that better.
I made that title up for myself.
That's very good. That's
Thank
very
you.
scholastic.
Okay,
if you will.
scholarly.
Yeah. So, the idea of you want to be in the ring like every day, yeah.
If I could, I would. I don't mind having a couple days to just enjoy life.
Sure.
Right now. It's great. So
How far is that from you?
about depends on the traffic, because Philly traffic during rush hour is the worst. If there's traffic, it takes about 30 to 40 minutes. If there's no traffic, 20.
Okay. I
Yeah.
remember mine was like my school was like 25 minutes away from me, and I was like, I'm paying dues. Like, I travel 25 minutes.
We're lucky.
It really
We're so
is.
lucky.
So close.
Yeah.
In the grand scheme of things, when you look back and you read McFoley's book, and he's like, I drove 4 hours or whatever it might be.
I knew guys who would take the bus in from New York to the Chikara school.
Yeah.
every day.
What are someone like? What are the longest drive out of school now that you guys have come in, or maybe that you remember?
We have a lot of kids. I mean, there's people who come every once in a while, but out of the regulars who come, like who are our students, we have tons of guests who come in, and we open our school up to anyone. We don't, charge or anything like that for mat fees, as long as you're trained and you're represented by someone who we kind of know, or you just let us know, call us and give us a heads up. We don't stress on that, but the longest drive for our regulars is usually about an hour, and they come from like Western PA. Some people come down from Maryland, some people from Northern Jersey, that kind of stuff. So it's pretty local.
Are you in like the marketing of that stuff?
Some of it.
I find that would be like hard.
Most of ours is word of mouth.
Okay, because
And
there's a lot
I'm
of
okay with that.
Well, I'm wondering how people like when there's a lot of people training out there, right? Or maybe like 5 or 6 probably pretty good ones.
You know who's good at the marketing of this stuff? Do you know who Earl Cruder is?
Yeah,
He's good at it.
Well, just because
he runs 3 schools, and he gets people to show up. Yeah, he's got it down. He's good. But no, we don't operate the same way. So I guess our philosophies are a little different in that respect.
Who do you
I'm
word them out?
happy with
Just
that.
at the shows?
Just my kids, trainees getting out there and getting known. Adam Cole is a product of our school. He's gone on to do great things. Probably the most successful right now, who came solely from our school.
Yeah.
Sammy Callahan, Solomon Crow, trained with us for a long time. He's up there now. So it's just, it's a testament to the hard work of the guys coming out of it and their ability to pay it forward.
Right. So you're having a nice, this is probably the best time of your career, yeah?
So far, yeah.
Would you agree?
It is, yeah. I'm lucky.
Yeah, we were just telling how you had not missed a flight. You were screwed over by the airlines.
Yeah.
So you're in this great step of and you tell me if I'm wrong, but slowly becoming a flight guy,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's nice. 2 years ago, I was not a flight guy.
You were not a flight guy. I think it's a big step in the independent wrestling, and as an independent wrestler, because we don't have a lot. We do have a lot of goals and a lot of steps in wrestling, but that's a big step.
Yep. And that's the logistics behind it too. Like how to get from point A to point B. All right, this guy's in demand now. We'd like to bring him over. That's an honor. Mm-hmm. Anytime I get to travel, it's like, whoa, this is crazy. I still feel like that.
Mm-hmm. Well, do you feel there was a turn, a turn point for you when it started?
I think it was a slow and steady increase. There was never a spike. But I know that with the popularity of Pro Wrestling Guerrilla amongst the independent wrestling scene worldwide, pretty much, that has helped a lot. And I've only been there a few times.
Right. So you feel because you and kind of Biff hit that at the same time, right?
Yep.
So you've seen that right away, just once.
Yeah.
Once you're on there, people are like, it's almost like an indie. What would be the right term for it?
I guess a level up. I don't know.
Yeah, but
An accomplishment.
once they at PWG,
it's an endorsement.
And maybe hope this guy's good enough for people to.
They kind of the fans all push it like that. These are the best guys out there, or whatever. Whether or not that's true, who's to say? But that's how I guess it's being endorsed. And it's very cool to see like how they did that over there. It's very punk rock, you know. It grew from its grassroots all the way.
Was it your goal to try to get in there?
That's the thing. I don't have any specific goals. I'm not I'm not a super goal oriented guy.
Do you look? Sometimes I'm back and forth because you'll hear people say like, "I set goals, I do this," and then they're like,
Sure.
"No, I'm the best ever at everything."
Yeah.
Do you ever like step back and go like, "Oh, I'm not as good of a person because I don't set goals"?
Sometimes I don't know. I don't think I'm not. It has nothing to do with me as a person.
Yeah.
That has to do with maybe the level I've accomplished my accomplishments. I've
Nope.
achieved my goals.
That sounds like me. I don't know what you're saying.
All right, I'm saying that setting goals and accomplishing them doesn't really affect me as a human being.
Okay.
But if I have things I want to do, like, all right, maybe I want to go here, you know, maybe I want to travel internationally. Well, if I had pushed myself more by setting goals and attacking them aggressively, I probably would have gotten there faster. I've seen it happen all the time. You see guys who come in, and Solomon Crowe is a perfect example of a guy who was goal-oriented, and he did whatever it would take to accomplish those goals, and he just moved up the ladder. And now he's working for WWE and NXT. So,
But you're saying you're the opposite of that.
I'm saying I was never really that kind of guy. I don't know if I'm the opposite. The opposite would probably be like, yeah, how can I make this worse for myself?
Fair enough.
Yeah, no? So, yeah.
But that doesn't like I don't know. I feel that's like it's an interesting mindset.
Yeah.
And you're not like, oh, maybe I should get goals. You're just like, no. You just go with the flow.
I try to have fun first of all.
Yeah. I guess I almost like explain to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not who you are. I mean, I know who you are enough, but like maybe even like what's in your head.
All right. I don't know. That's not the listen,
When
if you want to be
attacking
successful, you should probably set goals, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, but you've become successful.
I have, and it's not been like quick or easy.
Not at all.
You know, it's long and abrasive and taxing, but
So you realize
lots of fun.
You're more of a journey guy?
I guess I'm a high road guy, or a low road.
Well, I think it's in the journey.
It's the journey. Yeah, I like the journey.
I was saying this to Biff the other day. Actually,
Okay.
It's just like if you're like I'm in this for 20 years, like you can't look at like I need to get here. It's like no, like you'll just have experiences in this 20 years, like
Yeah.
wherever they're gonna be.
Yep.
You know, it's just like, and so that's the journey. Just know you're in the journey. Just work hard, right?
Yeah, you have to if you want to, you know, do well or advance
Yeah.
in anything. I do want to advance.
And you work hard.
Yeah,
I
thank
feel like I'm
you.
defending you. Why am I defending you?
I love it. This is like the opposite of Mother Time. This is great.
Well, I shouldn't be because I've seen you grow as such a great wrestler, and
Thank you.
it's very fun.
Thank you.
And you're young too, right?
I'm 28.
28. So when we were in Germany together that one time, and you were doing the England rounds.
Yeah.
How old were you then? 22.
Which company was that for? Do you remember?
Maybe England. I saw you at and you had been
Fight Club Pro.
at Fight Club Pro.
That was the tail end of my. Oh man, that was a crazy trip. That was 2011. So 4 years ago.
Okay, 23.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
24. I think I was 24 at the time.
Okay. And what did you do there? Did you do 3 months there?
That was 2 months.
Okay.
I was supposed to do 6 weeks at the Dixon camps, and then WXW coordinated it. They've been amazing to helping me and looking out for me and just giving me opportunities when it arose and stuff like that. And they called me up and said, "Hey, do you want to do this?" I believe, if you know Chris Dickinson, he was supposed to go and do that tour, but he hurt his knee at the same show that WXW was in running with Combat Zone Wrestling. There I wrestled Zack Sabre Jr. for the first time. We had a little match. I knew him before. We had a little match, and the guys saw me then, and that's where I kind of made a lasting impression. I had met them prior through working with Chikara. So they kind of knew me, but they didn't really know me. That was the first time really seeing me as me. And they said, hey, maybe he'd be good to bring in for this long tour. You know, we can work it out with the England companies. So I did the Dixon camps. And I was supposed to do 6 weeks. It was me, Jason Strife, Willie Mack, Shinya Ishikawa from Big Japan. Who else was on that tour? John Gresham. We were like the foreigners that got sent over to WXW, and then they'd ship us off to England to do whatever. And as soon as we got there, they were like, you know, that Dixon thing is maybe half as long as we told you about. And I'm thinking, oh no, like, because they do pay us a little bit, you know, that's half the money I'm supposed to make.
Right.
Ends meet, just living. So that happened. I wound up going to WXW, did that first week with those guys. I got to the airport. I didn't have my passport on me, and that's a funny story too. So I wound up staying an extra week in Germany, impromptu, Luckily,
Doing what?
my girlfriend, her sister-in-law had a mutual friend who lived 15 minutes from Dusseldorf in a town called Krefeld. And I would Facebooked her real quick. I'm like, yo, I'm stuck in your country without a passport. She said, I'll be right there. She picked me up, let me just crash at her place for a week and help find the thing. She was a school teacher. I wound up going to gym class with her. She taught gym. I taught gym as a guest.
Sure.
In Germany.
Like
in a small town in Germany.
Yeah, like this German school all of a sudden now can afford to bring over this American. Like,
man,
you're a big star.
Really, yeah. It was cool. All the kids wanted autographs. I showed them like amateur wrestling because they don't really have that there. So we did all the drills and stuff that I was taught.
So that wasn't
fun.
like that wasn't even like that was just like something that landed in your lap almost.
Yes, wrestling has landed a lot of things in my lap.
Yeah.
It's been great. Some of them have been crazy.
So so you go to school. You said I want to hit your teacher was an ECW fan.
My 6th grade biology teacher, huge ECW fan. He would go to all the shows, and then
That's so crazy. And would tell everybody.
only the guys. He wouldn't like, hey class, like a bunch of 6th graders. Hey guys, listen, Sabu just jumped off a chair the other day. And
I feel some of these listeners who are teachers, like there's maybe some.
Oh,
who
they're totally out there. No, if I had one, they're totally out there. He had a picture of King Kong Bundy.
That's cool.
On the chalkboard. I'll never forget that. That was like the only wrestling thing he had out for people to see. It was just there. He never talked about it. It was just there. But I'd be like, yo, is that King Kong Bundy? Because I was wrestling. He's like, yeah.
That's almost like the secret handshake. Like,
Yep.
I'm going to put this here for those kids who are, like,
Yep.
for a
That's
kid
how
like
he
you
was.
and I, yeah.
That's how he is. He's that kind of guy. So yeah, eventually he started telling us like, there's this promotion. You should really check it out. It's called Combat Zone Wrestling in Sewell, New Jersey. And after talking to him about it for a while, and like my parents got to know him, he was really cool. And they said, yeah, go check it out. So he took me to my first CZW show, which was Best of the Best, the
Your
very first
teacher did?
tournament. Yes.
Just you and him?
Just me. He was cool. It wasn't weird.
No, I'm not saying
sounds
it's weird, but
Yes, you are.
I'm not saying like he was like
Surprising.
touching you, but I'm saying like.
I didn't say that. You said that.
No, well, and I'm saying I'm not saying that.
Yeah, go ahead.
But I don't think
It's strange, right?
very strange.
Yeah.
Very strange that your parents would say okay, but that's me through my parents knowing they would have said no.
Right.
Me saying
My parents met him. They knew him. They knew him pretty well. He was like, I guess there's teachers out there who get close to their students and like actually mentor them, which I never hear about.
Never happened to me.
Yeah.
All authority figures have always hated me. Now I'm sad. I'm sad that you've had this opportunity.
Sorry, it was just the one time.
It's okay. So he took you to a show.
Yeah.
Not you and your friends, not you and your brother, just
Not
you.
yet. No.
Okay.
My brother, I said, Mom, listen, he's probably too young to go. She's like, all right, he wanted to go so bad. Especially after I came home and I said, I don't think it's a good idea. And like I came home with like a piece of a table that like Zandig smashed or something. And I showed it to everyone in class. I was like, dude, this is what they fell through. And I showed them like the table. Like, oh my God, it's a real table.
So that was your first independent, that was your first wrestling show at all? Or first independent show?
Was it my first wrestling? No, I did a SmackDown or something like that before.
Did you know about independence?
No. This was all new to me.
What was the lasting impression?
I thought like, what do I remember? I'm 14, and like I see guys. This was Best of the Best one, so I see like the Amazing Red, like doing a shooting star press, and it looks like he rotates the universe around him when he does it. And I was like, wow, Peter Pan is crazy. I want to do that. And I see like the Briscoe brothers go out there and have this crazy match, and at the time I'm like, this doesn't look like what's on TV. This isn't the same. But everyone's going nuts for it at the time. If you go back and watch it, like the fans are going crazy. That was like their breakout performance for these guys. And I'm sitting there 14, first time ever, like seeing this. Looking back, that's a big deal for me. Ruckus stood out big time because he was big. He was huge. He was like 300 pounds at the time, doing flips like the easiest thing, looking like a beach ball. And then Zandig came out. I used to think he looked like a cross between Bret Hart and like Triple H because he wore the leather jacket at the time with that hat, that old leather hat that Triple H used to wear. And he did a splash through a flaming table onto Lobo. It was like barbed wire too. I was like, all right. So I don't know if I liked it or if I just was so like overwhelmed by the experience of it. It was like a sight to behold, and those fans were just like you see in PWG now. That's how they were back then.
And that's what I love because like, not that we're debating whether these people are stars or not, but like for that experience, like those guys, and I know it's fun because now they're your
peers and mentors,
right? Your friends in the locker room, but it's like those. and those people for that experience is like those guys are stars. Like as much as De Niro or whatever are star. You know, they're in the same. Like I have the same. You know, like same guys like going to see like Reverend Axel Future and like you know and like when me and my friends will whip off like weird names, it's because like you know we were impressed. This was an impression of wrestling on us early.
Yep.
And I think like the goal is that like as long as there's more like all of us then we will be perceived as stars.
Yeah.
And like you know and the best is that for you and I now there's kids like this who are going to their first matches.
Yep.
And adults too who are like someone's like you should and maybe even like NXT like who's this Kevin Owens, who's this Sami Zayn, oh watch this is where they came from. And then we're exposed and
that's the magic of that. It was definitely that close experience. And it's cool that you said that. Quack always gives like sweet locker room speeches before the shows. The best.
Yeah.
One of them he gave was like I can't word it as good as he did, so sorry Mike if you're listening. He said, no matter what you guys do today, I want you to take this with you. And he says, at least there's no matter who you are, no matter how popular you are, there's probably one person out there who came to this show to see you, who came back to see you. He's like, you made a lasting impression on that person. He said, go out there and do it for them. And then everyone freaked out and, you know, rah, no.
Who, me?
Whoever. Yeah, no, that's the thing, though, but it's true. He's right. And that's something that you learn over time. You do make these connections with people, whether you realize it or not. And usually when you're new and pro wrestling as a young person, you don't realize that at all. And it was, I don't know, it's true. It's 100% true.
That's the fun of the illusion, though. Like when you come through the curtain, and, you know, and I guess essentially the wrestling ring is the stage, and so you're risen above, so you're on a higher level. So even if you're new and you're a rookie and it's your first match, like there's still a fan. Like the fans don't know unless you announce, like, "Hey guys, this guy has sucked in practice all week." You know,
he's not good.
Yeah,
avert your eyes.
I wonder if they've done that. I feel like they might have done. Someone's done that out there. Like,
doing that next week.
Yeah, for your training.
Yeah,
guys, give this guy a break. He's just like you. He's probably had less practice than most of you in the audience.
He doesn't watch it.
Yeah, fun. So CZW. So they took you, and then you went training. Yeah.
So I Tournament of Death 2 after Mondo went off the roof. That was the one where he went off. Yeah, that one. Oh, that one. We were hanging around. Rory had known a lot of the guys because he was Little Mondo, and I had known them through him usually. And I forget what it was. I think it was Shawnee on the ring crew. He's this little crazy guy on the ring crew who does everything. He's a monster. He's a machine. And he was like, "Hey, he's still. Oh yeah, he's still at it. He's gonna be dead and still doing it. I hope he doesn't die soon or anything like that." All right, I'm back on track.
Sorry, Sean.
Sorry, Sean. Love you, Sean. So he was like, "Hey guys, you can help out if you want." So we just started helping out. It's the first time stepping in a ring. We started taking the ropes down, and like we're carrying the ropes. It was like a big deal. It was like raining a little bit. We were putting the chairs away. Just wanted to help. Didn't want anything in return. Just wanted to help. And so we kept helping on the ring crew for a couple months. And then I remember they had this show outside at a car lot. They called it Pain in the Rain 2. I believe it was Joker and Sabian's second show ever in CZW. They were two mentors of mine and guys who were around a lot back in that day. And we were taking the ring down as usual, helping with the chairs, just me and my brother. And then Zandig out of the mist comes out of the rain, and he goes, "Here, guys." And he hands us like these 2 orange paper tickets to CZW. So he comped us for the next show for helping out. So now I was like, oh my God, we're in. You know, like I'm on the ring crew now. So I was like, hey, if you need help before the show, they're like, no, don't come before the show. Just help us break down after. So they helped us break down after, and we did that for
them break down.
We helped them. They helped us too. We helped. Yeah. Oh, they helped us. Pay it back.
You were ring crew, so
we were post-show ring crew. Basically, fans just lending a hand because CZW had a dedicated ring crew. It wasn't the guys doing it, and it wasn't much of the students. I don't think there were many who would stick around to do that. So, Tournament of Death 3 rolls around. We're doing ring crew as usual, and then DJ High comes up, and he was 3 years in at the time. He starts talking to me and my brother. He's like, "Hey, you guys should come down to the school. You guys should come down to the school." And I'm like, "Really? Like us? Like we should come down?" He's like, yeah. My brother's 14. I'm 17 at the time. A week later, my brother gets picked up by a guy, goes down and just kind of scopes it out. He's 14. He gets picked up by like another wrestling fan that he just happened to know.
Picked up by your teacher.
Picked up by my teacher, if you know what I mean. No, another fan that he had met through the message boards. not through the message boards, at the shows. And
Periscope.
yeah, Periscope tout. He took him to his first, I guess, look at practice, and he came home with a waiver. One waiver. And we scribbled both our names where it says, like, you must be this old. And I remember, like, kind of going to my mom, hey, we're hanging out at the wrestling school. Can you sign this to be safe? We didn't be like, yo, we're training to do this for life.
Yeah.
You know? And she signed it. And we went the next week, and we had our tryout, which a CZW tryout is not, hey, guys, let's see if you're tough enough to make it. It's, this is what we do. See if it's right for you. Like, it's a tryout for the consumer,
We're
not
going to hit
for
you
us.
with a million light bulb tubes.
Go bump on the concrete, that kind of stuff. You know.
So where did the money come from to train? Or did you not get charged?
We did get charged, and we had to work it off. Zandig gave us a 2-for-1 deal since we were family, so we had to split the cost of training at the time. I think it was like $3,000 for both of us, which is a great deal for a wrestling school. And just slowly over time, we would work doing ring crew before and after the show now. Anything during the show, we would do what we were told. We'd work hard during practice. You know, although we take guys. I remember I told Super Dragon this like the first day I got to PWG, and I was like, listen, dude, you probably have no idea. He's like, I blocked out CCW completely. And I told him, me and Rory used to take him and Excalibur up the street when they get to the building early, and we just go for food, that kind of stuff. So we like show them around town. We did all that stuff. On top of that, like whatever money we could scrounge up, we would give to them. We would try to like keep it at $100 a month if we could. And in about a year and a half, we did get settled up. Now, the school changed hands during that time. And Mike Quackenbush and Chris Hero came in and took over the school training duties because Mike Burns had started booking for the shows again and producing the shows and stuff like that. And he was very instrumental in that going down. Plus, a lot of the CZW guys would work Chikara shows like Joker and Sabian, those guys.
So meaning that you had to start paying these guys, or you're just saying that
like our debt would transfer to them,
Gotcha.
basically. I don't know if they would settle up with Zandig at the end of the week. I never really cared to know that information, but they had a deal worked out, and that's who we were giving money to after that.
Was that weird for you? It'd be weird for me, like if I had two trainers and they were like, "Oh, now you're training with these guys."
No, because our trainers, like when I first started, it was Zandig was considered the head trainer, but he would rarely actually train. There's a couple days there he was there. He taught us pile drivers like 3 weeks in.
Sure.
The head trainers at the time when I started was John Dahmer, who was almost always there. DJ would help, and then Joker and Sabian would run class. And then after the school moved from Deptford over to the arena the first time, the head trainers, after they had moved from Deptford to the arena the first time, the head trainers were Z-Bar and Nick Burke for a little bit. And then Burns, I guess, was like, yo, this would be a great idea to bring these guys in. They're great talents. They lost their school. They need a new school. Come in and teach. And they did. They supplanted.
So, I mean, you accepted him fine, and you're like...
I had no say in it regardless, but I was absolutely cool with it. I was ecstatic about it because I had seen Quack wrestle on the CZW shows, and I knew how good he was.
Okay, fair enough, yeah.
And I'd seen Hero for years wrestle on the CZW shows. Yeah. So I was like, all right, great. I'd gone to clinics with the CZW crew when they had Skyda in the first time, like in Allentown in that school. And that's when I first met them, and I loved training with them and asking them questions. They were like veterans, and they're like, all right, what's the etiquette on shaking hands in a locker room in Japan or something, like ridiculous questions. But that was my experience with them before they became trainers. So, of course, I was accepting of it.
Cool. Yeah.
Sorry if I rambled a lot.
No. It's just I don't know. And people are trained in different scenarios and different situations. And, like, I was talking about this with somebody the other day, is that, like, who was I talking about this? Maybe it was Joe, because I think Joe was doing a seminar yesterday.
Okay.
And... because Hawkins has a school, so we were talking about the idea of, like, there was never, like, to do seminars, and I feel like my trainers would have been like, why are you doing seminars with other people? We're training you. You know, so, like,
that exists.
And it does
school loyalty, all that kind of stuff.
Yes,
absolutely.
Yes. And so that's why I think for me it would be hard to accept being like, oh, you've been traded to these guys. You know, especially after you put down a lot of money to pay for somebody else. But I mean, those two are great guys.
Yeah.
But that'd just be weird to me. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't
that's all
know.
I'm saying. It'd just be weird to me.
I don't know.
But that's just me, my situation.
We weren't, like...
That was many years ago.
It was interesting, too, because the guys who did transfer over had, like, a special kind of deal. Like, all right, you guys don't have to come to all the Chikara shows as a ring crew, but you do have to do all the CZW shows. But anybody who's new has to do both. Like, that. I remember that specifically being a thing. Yeah.
Cool. You doing all right?
Great.
Things are going well?
Yeah, I think so. How about you?
Yeah, good. I mean, we're winding down. That's it.
This is why it's already done?
That's how we do it.
No. I could talk to you for hours.
I know.
Dude.
Well,
Yeah.
we've talked for hours.
Macaroni shops and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you wrestle in Israel?
I trained.
You did the training seminar.
Yeah.
Yeah, that guy.
Gary.
He never came through. And then these new guys don't
There's new
come.
ones.
There's new ones.
Okay.
AWO. They kind of ditched me and Sabu.
Really?
Yeah.
How?
They said, "Do you want to do the show?" And then they didn't put us on the show.
But you were in Israel?
No. But like, I got the booking, and then the show happened. And I was like, "Wasn't I on that show?" And
Oh, they didn't fly you out or anything?
Yeah,
like that?
yeah.
It just kind of happened?
And I think Sabu got left at the airport.
Holy crap.
Like, went to the airport and was like, "Where's my flight?" It's not there.
I don't know if that's I hope he wasn't like in his ring attire.
Yeah, I would assume so.
At
Sabu
the-
only goes in his ring attire. I don't
Tel Aviv
know.
Airport?
That would be.
That would be a sight.
I think I would be if I would be a draw anywhere. I would hope it would be Israel.
Yeah.
I would hope. I
That's
don't
true.
know.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to go out. You went out there though.
Yeah, it was great. It was it wasn't like, hey, let's fly this guy in situation. It was like, hey, I happen to be coming to your country. Is there any wrestling there?
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah, give us a call when you get here.
Sure.
So
That makes sense. I'd probably say it to someone in Chicago.
Yeah, calling a random number. You know, like, hey, just give me a call when you get here. 6 months prior, found him on a message board.
Are you religious or
No,
you're?
I'm not practicing religious. I did have my bar mitzvah, and I went 3 years after and got confirmed.
Ooh.
Yeah,
Once the bar mitzvah happened, I was out.
yeah,
Out.
couldn't wait. Right.
Ugh. What were you doing in Israel?
Israel was for a mutual friend of the family's bar mitzvah. He was
Okay.
getting bar mitzvah over there. Awesome experience. Amazing.
Really?
Place to get bar mitzvah is, you know.
Yeah, but I've had this because I'm doing these destination weddings for people.
Okay.
And I'm like, well, guys, can't you just do it next to your fucking house so I don't have to
They
spend.
brought me.
Oh, you were.
They were like, we really want you to come. Please come.
Oh, well, then that's another thing.
Yeah,
sure,
dude,
someone's
I'm not
paying
saying-
you.
yeah.
They're paying your trans for a bar mitzvah.
It was incredible.
Okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
fair enough.
I was lucky.
Good. Well, you're one of the shining stars of the world of wrestling.
Thanks.
We had
Means a lot coming
those,
from you.
Those, of course, well, those really fun matches, and I don't even think they were Chicago. Were they
Wrestling
beyond?
is hard.
Wrestling is.
Wrestling's art.
Yes.
That was it. Wrestling is art.
Oh, wrestling is.
And the National Pro Wrestling Day.
Yeah.
Wrestling is.
I enjoyed those matches a lot.
Me too.
Good.
Thanks.
Yeah, I think they're for sale.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Smart Mark Video, actually.
There you go. That's a plug. SmartMarkVideo.com.
Yeah.
And that's it. Where you at on the world? Where you at on the internet?
Twitter. At Drew Gulak. That's DREWGULAK.
I learned rhymes with attack.
It does.
Gulak.
Yeah.
Fucked it up once.
It's my new shirt. Gulak Attack, which you can get on ProWrestlingTees.com.
Hey, I heard of them.
/ Drew Gulak.
Okay.
Spelled the same way as I did a couple seconds ago.
Yeah.
Yep.
Twitter, Instagram.
Twitter, Instagram, same name. Facebook is full, so good luck there.
Don't even try it.
Yeah, if you want to get a hold of me, I have a website, drewgulak.com.
Perfect.
So if you want to book me, hey,
All right.
please.
Any other things that I need to know before we get on here?
I don't know, man. Like, thank you guys for supporting me and listening to this.
That's
It means
a good
a lot
one.
to me.
That's a good one.
Yeah. Thank
Anything
you for
else?
having me on.
I'm not looking for this. I'm looking for a wise.
A wise statement.
Maybe not.
What are you fishing for right now?
Nothing.
All right, listen, guys. If you're going to be aggressive, do it in a lighthearted way so that nobody is mad at you afterwards.
There it is. Thanks for coming on, Drew.
Thank you.
All right. Starting to go all around the world. This is a guy, I think, in 5 years, 10 years, when you're listening back to these archives, you're like, holy shit, he was on the podcast, and he was just like an indie wrestler, and now he's this thing, which is hopefully awesome. I can only assume. Drew's really talented and a real fun guy. All right, before we get out of here, let's get into some plugs and
Upcoming events.
ColtMerch.com, DigitalColt.com, where to grab my shit. Twitter and Instagram at Colt Cabana. Facebook / AOW Podcast. ColtWrestling at gmail.com, my very public email. Send me something if you want to put me on your upcoming show or convention. CutMyPromo.com is my YouTube show. And ColtCabana.com is the website, and it's kind of updated, and it's new, and it's nice. You should check it out. Thanks to Brady Russell on that. I got a P.O. box there. You can see the P.O. box. I got a very lovely letter from a lady in Wisconsin, I believe. Upcoming this week, Gathering of the Juggalos, Thornville, Ohio, juggalogathering.com. Thursday, July 30th, Dallas, Texas. It's a comedy show, dallascomedyhouse.com. Only a $10 if you buy it online. It's going to be a very fun show. Friday, July 30th, I'll also be in Dallas, Texas at podcastmovement.com hosting a free podcast awards if you're in town. Saturday, August 1st, London, Kentucky, Pro Wrestling Revolution. And August 7th through the 31st, I will be in Edinburgh, Scotland, roaming around. I hope you come and check out my comedy show every single night except Sunday nights and the 18th. thestand.co.uk to buy tickets there. Also on Sunday nights, insanewrestling.co.uk. And Sundays at 5:30, live podcast with wrestlers and very funny comedians who like wrestling, who are going to tell you fun anecdotes about wrestling. Go back and listen to those past Edinburgh shows. They're very funny. Ticket information for that is on my website, coltcabana.com. There it is. That's the show. Thank you to you guys at home for listening. I'd superly, duperly appreciate it. Thanks to Drew Gulak. Thanks to Cable Guy Jeff and Stu Stone. Thanks to Kid Russell and Matt Jenkins on the music. Dane Miller with some tech. How about some sponsors? Highspots.com. Hundreds of full-length titles available to download. A ring, gear, masks. Developmentally Speaking, which I took a part of. Brian Myers is the host of that. You can buy that there, download, or a DVD. OneHourTees.com, who helps run ProWrestlingTees.com. Did you see the article on DNA Chicago? Very nice article. We're helping people. ProWrestlingTees.com. So many choices, so many shirts, so many good deeds being done. Tweakedaudio.com/Colt, the earbuds that I use. Get over 30% off and free shipping just because you listen to this show. Packing up the bag, folks. Packing up the bags, packing up the car. It's going to get dirty. It's going to get real. Going to try to do some videos out there. Who knows what I'm going to do? If you have any suggestions, maybe tweet them to me. I'm thinking about asking some juggalos to give wrestlers some juggalo names. We'll maybe make that a YouTube video. But I'm open. I'm all ears. I'll be actually all eyes if it's on Twitter. Watch out for that Vine, that Twitter, and that Instagram. It's going to get busy. It's going to get gathering busy. Time to pack up. Time to load up the gathering bus as I head on out to Thornville, Ohio. This has been The Art of Wrestling. For Colt Cabana, I'm Colt Cabana. Thanks.